Alrighty, I have gotten word that we are ready to go, so we are going to send you off to Ratchet and Clank Future Cracking Time by WED. Have fun and good luck.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm wedsr, and I'm going to be doing actually an old New Game Plus category. It's been obsoleted since, but it's still a very cool route. Going to be showing off today for you guys, and timing will be after I start, or there will be a load, and there will be a loading screen that pops up, and then there will be a black screen right after that, and then when the actual gameplay pops up, that's when the timing starts. So we'll get going in 3, 2, 1. So being that I'm not sitting here on like the main menu or anything, you might think this category is a little weird. I'll talk about it in a moment, so get ready. Go. So as I was mentioning before, being that I didn't start from the main menu, this category is a little strange. The original name of the category was New Game Plus Partial FM, or New Game Plus. FM stands for file manipulation, which we have ways to manipulate the files in our game to start a challenge mode file from wherever we want, actually. This is a route that starts from a very specific part of the game. To actually, at one point it was the fastest route, but now it's really just the most interesting and quick route to get to the end of the game. The fastest route, of course, is to just start at the very end of the game. But this one starts at 3/4 of the way through, and then you start heading backwards and grabbing a bunch of things that you need to not soft lock the game. So now, with that out of the way, I can actually talk about some of the mechanics of what I'm doing right now. Since, once again, this is a New Game Plus category, there are a bunch of these time puzzles here, but because I've already completed them, we just skip right through them. And you'll see that I'm doing like this arm flapping motion with Clank over and over again. Clank specifically moves faster while he's falling. So since we have 3 hovers that we can use, we go ahead and we hover, immediately cancel a hover, and then start another one. And that's just how we move through Clank sections.
Deactivate your neural safeguards and send you into your own subconscious. Hop in.
As a whole, it looks goofy. It kind of looks like Clank's trying to flap his wings. We'll be going up ahead here, doing a couple of death abuses, because there's some lines of dialogue that it skips. A common trend used throughout this run is actually checking the little planet symbol in the bottom left. That is the autosave trigger, and throughout the run we'll even be abusing it at times. I'll talk about that as time progresses.
Try using them to get across to the other side.
So, the story behind this game is that Ratchet and Clank are separated. Clank has been teleported to the center of the universe, give or take 50 feet, and is set to become a timekeeper. Meanwhile, Ratchet's on a mission to find Clank. That doesn't really matter at all in this run. In fact, this game is run in in-game time, and there's a lot of unskippable cutscenes in this game, so we had a community decision to just remove the cutscenes from the game because they take up 30 minutes.
From time to time, various creatures.
So, for anyone that has wanted to play this game and doesn't want any spoilers, this is a great run for you, because you won't know anything that's going on aside movement mechanics. Where are you going?
Well done,
So you can actually skip this fight here. You can get over to this platform, but it locks up your file until you death abuse. You get the scepter outside of this section immediately, and dialogue just doesn't start. There's a lot of soft triggers like that throughout this game. A lot of ones we can kind of fudge to just make them work so that we can progress through a level. Like, we know where some triggers are, we know what we can do, but we're limited by the game's own mechanics.
Terratropes are nasty little creatures. They feed on quantum energy, so they can see your past selves. Nicely done,
So
sir.
there's not really too much else for me to mention involving like the Clank section here. So if there's any donations,
you may have to find another way across.
feel free.
Past selves can throw time bombs too.
Alrighty, I will make mention that for those of you speedrunners at home watching, if you're a speedrunner yourself and would like to participate in one of these marathons, hey, we'd love to have you. Runners from all across, words are hard. Runners across all of the globe are encouraged to submit to our online events, and if you're actually willing and able to come to Minneapolis, you can actually take part in our in-person events as well. Kind of like this one right now. If you want some more info, just join our Discord server by typing !Discord in chat, or just checking our Twitch bio.
I heard that. Unauthorized sonic device on approach.
So right up here is the first major enemy that we actually get to see through the run, which Clank just explained the name of what this boss is. I don't feel like saying it again because it's 3 words. Could be using that time to kick his butt, as Sigmund is saying. So this boss moves reasonably fast. We have to throw some time bombs at it to ensure that it's slowed down. And I'm specifically going for these jump strikes here because I'm able to get a horizontal swing. Sometimes I'm able to get a contact swing on the way down, and then you get slam damage. Slam damage with the scepter deals quite a bit of damage. Deals more damage even when you're higher up, which was what I was using on the quarks in the pneumonic chamber. So you can get like a high radius and decent damage to be able to just knock out a wave of enemies. It's a little finicky though. Depends on where enemies are on like the plane of the ground, or if you hit an enemy, so your shockwave's a bit higher. So now we're done with Clank for a bit. We get to play as Ratchet for a little bit. For anyone that hasn't played this game but played other Ratchet and Clank games, this game actually does have a ship-based hub world where you get to move around freely. There's 4 different hubs. We don't care about any of those. That's actually the only ship movement you really see throughout the run. You'll see like another 30 seconds near the end. As I said, the route for this is very weird and non-linear. So we're entering Torn 4 right now to get the first major item that we need in the game to get to the end.
Quark, come in. I just landed on Torn 4.
They're called the hover boots. I call them the movement option because Ratchet's kind of slow.
Volgrim Pass.
So you get the hover boots and you got your go fast one. Who doesn't like a go fast one?
I'll be in touch.
One thing I actually did back there, if you end up timing a jump attack just right, or what we call an extended hyper strike, you can get an additional height, allowing you to get up on ledges before you're supposed to. So here's actually a pretty hard trick here. I'm going
I
to
don't think that's such a good idea.
stay quiet during this. This isn't even the hard part of it. Okay, neat. So ledges have a quirky property in this game. It's kind of a 50-50 chance the ledges work or they don't. That's not what I was trying to do there at all. Alright. Extended hyper strike. Slide off the platform. Don't get an extended hyper strike. as I said, this trick is pretty difficult. Usually you're supposed to go through that whole rail section and then you talk to a guy and he opens a door for you. That's pretty slow. So instead we like to break in instead. Break into the hollow. What better way than above? So I'm going to be specifically walking over towards the front of this area because there's an autosave trigger up here. And normally in this area you're supposed to be getting these things right around here. They're called battery bots. You're supposed to be putting them inside of certain charging stations to make sure that these pistons move. We don't need to worry about that. We can just jump around the pistons. Very nice that they let you do that. So I mentioned to some of the staff members right before this run that there was a little bit of setup time that I did. And that's specifically for this coming up here. There's going to be a rail section coming up here. And some weird thing that happens in this game is if you load a save file and you're on rails, that rail speed, because different rails have different speeds, that rail speed carries over to other rail sections. Which means that I have the speed of an end game rail section right now in the early game, which saves 30 seconds. It's not allowed in most other categories because it's considered a form of file manipulation, but in this category it's completely fair game. Speaking of which, this some people in like any percent runs have actually managed to get a faster version of the rails. It's in between this speed and the normal speed of this. No one knows how it's done. I believe there's still even a bounty for getting that worked out. It's like $50, $50 or $100.
Yes, you're going to have to learn how to outmaneuver him.
Because if that gets figured out, that's like a free 20-second time save.
You need. Now,
so I mentioned file manipulation several times. This is the first instance that we're going to actually be doing it in a run. So we're going to force an autosave here by pausing. Actually, first, I am going to save the game because this can be bad. So let's start another autosave there. And now we head to the main menu. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to very quickly go through the main menu right now. And what that is supposed to do is it applies starting the game, like a fresh start of the game, onto your current save file. It worked, so good. It usually doesn't fail. There's the off chance that it just makes your save file actually start over instead of giving you weird New Game Plus junk that we want. But everything worked out perfectly. So I'm going to go for this trick like twice. This trick's really hard. We call this Sigmund skip. The kind of nasally guy that talks to us throughout the game in the Clank sections is called Sigmund. This is to skip like the camera calibration. Oh, I got it. Nice. It's actually quite hard to skip, so I'm very happy I got to show that in the run. That I struggle with that quite a bit. A weird trend with this game, especially for like 80% categories, Clank is probably the most interesting character in this game in terms of like things that you can do and skips that can be done. But you can basically skip every Clank section. So none of that matters. Like here's something right here. This is a this is like a strafe ledge grab skew. What I'm trying to do is alter the angle that I end up grabbing this wall. It allows me to be placed inside the seam of the wall, and I can just clip right out of bounds. And cool. I just ledge grabbed an invisible wall.
Warning.
Cool.
Warning. Unauthorized sonic device in Sector 7. Repeat. Unauthorized sonic device in Sector 7.
Coming up to the end of Great Clock 1. Gotta stand on this invisible ledge right here. It's very nice that a lot of the, just a lot of, all the stuff out of bounds is just tangible. You can stand on it. It's very convenient for a lot of that junk there. And it's really scary. The start of the run, that is usually the start of the run. That first Great Clock section. It's probably the hardest part of pretty much any run. Huge run killer. A lot of things can go wrong in it. Honestly, that was pretty reasonable. Went pretty well.
Where the heck are we?
So this goes back into, like, once again, we're at a Ratchet section. This is what we're... These are the sections that we're getting the items that we need to not soft lock our game at the end. We purposely picked this area second so that we get to go through here. We get to go through Quantos with the hoverbirds. Normally Quantos is right after Great Clock 1, which in this case it is, but we also did Great Clock 2 and we started from Great Clock 4. As I said, this category is kind of funky. Time isn't always a straight line, you know. There's a floor there? That's crazy. So normally you're supposed to wait around for a Quark a bunch here to knock down doors, but we have hover boots, so we can go fast and jump over big gaps.
Help, please.
You got it, sidekick. Smart thinking.
This is actually usually one of the longest splits in the entire run, because this planet Quantos, because you don't have any items and they just brought you into the game. There are triggers to pass through the game just everywhere, or to be able to progress this level. There's just a ton of them, which is why I'm doing a lot of this random stuff throughout this. I solved a wonderful platforming puzzle there, by the way. Just wanted to say, I solved it and it was really good, really nice. Usually you're supposed to jump all the way around that. You have to wait for cycles and whatnot. And where's the third child? Hello? I thought I got it.
Happy to be of service, ma'am.
That was not something I usually do.
Come. We have to get into the village.
So, what are these things?
Alright, so this section's pretty slow. From here, I'm going to be killing some enemies to once again get a checkpoint trigger. So we got like a minute if you want to do a donation.
These creatures are the least of our worries right
We
now.
got it.
Alright. Mic stuff is hard. So we do have just a
They won't stop until we can offer you sanctuary within these walls.
Alright, take 3. There we go. Nay, I exist, kind of. Alright. I will say that, for those that don't know, Midwest Speed Fest 2021 is actually taking part at 2DCon right now, which is Minnesota's largest gaming and esports event. Since 2015, they've generously given us space and resources at their annual convention in Minneapolis every August. to host our marathons and help raise money for charity. If you want to learn more about them, just check out 2dcon.net.
So right here, because there's usually a like a long line of dialogue that you have to sit through and whatnot and wait for some doors to open, we don't do that. Instead, we use the hover boots and we break into this tomb instead. Just, you know, normal things. Normal things when you can move faster than you're supposed to on this planet.
Got it. I'm through.
Another mechanic that I've actually been using with the hover boots that I haven't been mentioning is we have... I've been using the high speed option for the hover boots and I'm still getting a double jump. That's not something that you're supposed to be able to do. We use it quite a few times in the run to get over gaps that are much bigger than intended. There's a very important one that'll be happening in a little while.
You survived? I mean, you survived.
I haven't even mentioned the main weapons that we use in this. So, we use like 4, 5 weapons throughout this run. That's not what I meant to pull out. So we have our buzz blades. Our buzz blades are our kill everything in the room button. You just hold down the button and we have fun. The Rhino is good for short range, high damage. So use it for that. We have the Rift Inducer 5000, which we use there for killing enemies in place. That might actually be the only time you use it. We got the Groovetron, which I'll be using a couple times near the end of the game for the bosses. And we got Zircon, who's moral support. Okay, I did kill it. There's a ship that usually drops down there, but because you're using the buzz blades, they just kind of home in. Also, this guy's very slow, and I forgot that he's very slow, so we get to walk with him over to the door now. This is all very important. We're trying to get the game back to a reasonable spot for us to do the same trick that we did before at the end of Torrent 4. So, once again, I'm going to be doing a safety save, and I'm going to be forcing the game back to the start. Because we have the 2 items that we need to beat the game. We needed the Zoni Vessel to not soft lock, and we needed the hover boots to make some jumps near the end of the game. So right here, I will be making a safety save. I was not supposed to hit load there. It's fine. I won't do anything. Once again, gotta very quickly go through the main menu. The way that kind of works is because you still have the autosave trigger up, until that's gone, the game just believes that you must be doing it on the current, you must be doing whatever you're doing on the current file. So it's like, oh, you're starting the game? Oh, it must be on the current file. The camera does not help you at all there. You can make it onto this teleporter. I didn't really work out the directions I needed to go. Or elevator. It's a teleporter. What am I saying? So just because I love you guys here, I'm going to
What is next on our
I'm going to actually do one of these puzzles just because I think the tech that we use for the puzzle is really cool. I feel like it's something nice to show off. It's not that much slower,
I'm coming.
and it's got some style points to it. And I'm being taken away. This file was originally set up for New Game Plus all gold bolts, so that gold bolt is still sitting there. Ideally, it would not be. So it took me on a ride. So elevators in this game, at least in the Clank sections, have very janky properties to them.
Recording initiated.
We have ways to preserve the momentum of the elevator.
Temporal recording initiated.
So we can just use that to launch ourselves into the sky and just skip the entire puzzle. Just a neat mechanic that I really wanted to show off, since otherwise I don't really get to. I just skip the puzzles. That's also probably the easiest one in the run, so, or the easiest one in runs that actually do this area. I have a couple of scripted fight sections here. There's not too much going on for like a minute or so, if we have anything else.
At least once a week.
Perhaps it is because you do not know how to fix it.
Or if the mic's working.
Fix you, evil computer. Oh, hey, sir. You mind giving this station a whack with your chronoceptor? Now we just need to test it. Do you think so?
No? Okay. So once again, we're getting through this area so that we can get to essentially the ending sequence of the game. We'll do our last very challenging puzzle in just a moment. And then we have a fight. Then we get to head over and beat the heck out of Nefarious. As far as we're aware, neither of the fights here, we have a way to skip them. We have a lot of ways to like clip through walls, but in super specific spots in this game, we don't. In areas that would be very useful to have clips. There's one in like the second section, like the section that we started the game at, where if we found a wall clip, or it might actually be changed now. A lot of stuff has happened with even the any percent categories in this game. I've been living under a rock. But at least for the longest time, we were looking for a way to clip into a room in the second Great Clock section. If we found it, we'd save like 13 minutes. So here's a door. We don't care about this door.
It's the master switch for the entire facility. XJ,
I hope you like that door.
On behalf of Orvis.
Nicely enough, that triggers a position and not activated by something else, so we can just clip through the wall and activate the trigger. Coming up here, this is the one other ship section we have in the run. And that is now the end of every ship section in this run. There is actually some very interesting stuff that you can do with the ship. You can actually go out of bounds in the hub world and just kind of barrel roll your way to planets that you're not supposed to, which is used in like the any percent categories. Very important there. anything that doesn't involve New Game Plus, where you just have everything already, you can just use it to skip any requirements that you need through the game. Because usually you need something called zoning, and I have 40 of those, so, you know. Here's probably the hardest hover boots double jump in the game. Not surprised. As I said, quite hard. This here actually skips an entire planet. Like, this jump alone skips an entire planet. That was a really bad one. As my main speed game of choice is Spyro 3, or Spyro Year of the Dragon, for the Sony PlayStation 1. This draws a lot of parallels to a skip in that game called Icy Peak Skip. So I just call this Icy Peak Skip. Something that I also have not great history with in runs. Or in marathon runs. What is going on? I am losing so much speed. Like, none of these are close. They're getting worse, like, every time. This is going well in practice. I have no idea what's going on right now. These are so far off. I don't know what's going on. That one would have been good. I just timed that too late. I think that was another good one that I timed too late. We're figuring this out together. Slow one. What is going on? You ever just forget how to speedrun? It's kind of a moral dilemma. Too far. That's gotta be good. I got baited. Completely baited there. No! That time I was baited. The skip is trying to whittle away what little sanity I have left right now. Ah, there we go, finally.
First try.
First try. So the reason I had to do that skip there was usually there's going to be a platform that you can just take to just float on over to that area, but that only appears if you finish the previous planet in this sector.
The nefarious space station.
We clearly didn't do that sector, so
Here we are. The final showdown
here we
between
were,
good and evil.
jumping at a
Smell
platform.
That's
Sometimes.
drama, baby.
I smell something, and it's definitely not drama.
So this is
Hey,
Nurse
look at the
Shannon.
bright side. At least
I
we're
think
not
she's
being
kinda
squeezed
cute.
to death by the Pistons.
Trash compactor initiated. Prepare to recompact.
Maybe some people don't. I don't know. I don't judge.
Cover me. I'm about to do something impressive.
Did you guys need a closer look?
Muscles aching, arms burning, calves
Is that a good enough look?
looking good.
I have so many questions right now,
In trash compactor 714.
and I'm afraid to ask.
Shutting down. Compact.
All you need to know is that a blockage has been
That's
detected.
it. Did you hear that? I did it! Get naughty. I just made you my... That one was a little too close.
Now Shannon kicks my butt.
The maintenance sector is crawling with nefarious... How do they know?
I'm going to do some stuff here that probably shouldn't. Yeah, I definitely should. But here we are. Hasn't stopped me before. So if you're able to get parallel with a ledge in this game, it doesn't really matter if it's going to go out of bounds or whatever. Ratchet will grab it. Now, normally, actually, in this route, you would be fighting all of these enemies. You can take a ton of time to, or it doesn't even take much time to take out all of the enemies here. Man, I picked a terrible spot to throw this Grubitron. I cannot see a thing. I'm trying to grab the very top corner. This doorway right here. But there is a very bright light in the way. I wonder who put that there. So I hope everyone's Friday night's been going well. Once again, completely unnecessary. I'm already this deep though. I wanna give this game its fair shake.
Yes, sir. How may I be of assistance?
So that dance was actually on purpose. Partly to see that. The other reason here is it starts this sequence right here where Quark is stuck walking at this elevator.
I'm sure you'll think of something.
That has the ability to save a few seconds coming down the line.
Avert your eyes from the exalted.
So Quark's gonna walk out here, or sorry, Shannon. She's gonna chill right over there and do her thing.
Annihilate him!
And hopefully she'll stay there. See if we get the good dialogue. No. My favorite line there is when he tells me that I look shorter.
You didn't have to come all the way over here. The hypernova defense laser is quite capable of clearing the debris. Say, would you like to test it out? That could only if you pass
That is pretty easy.
very good, sir.
Random tasks or random things that you have to do to progress the plot further.
And this way you'll be excellent shooting, sir.
And now I will be killing this guy because it's faster.
Yes, sir. Was there something you needed, sir?
Hey, he's gone. I wonder what happened. Oh no, there was an explosion. Oh, I should probably get that checked out. We do have a little bit of time here, if there's any donations or anything.
Sure. What I can talk about actually is a bid war that we have down the road, and it's for new Ghostbusters 2. Honestly, you can just choose the characters, and the top 2 win. Right now, we've got both Lewis and Winston leading the pack, so if you want to give some love to Egon, Peter, or Ray, make sure you get those donations in for those characters. And again, the top 2 will be featured, so definitely keep that in mind for, well, who you're going to call.
We actually did get the strat there. We got the strat called Quark Walk, which is when Quark ends up staying over there by the elevator. Usually you would have to sit and wait for Quark to walk all the way from the command station over to the elevator. And it takes up like 10 seconds. It's debatably a time save in any % categories because you deal less damage, so having Quark is just like that little bit extra damage is kind of nice, but in New Game Plus where you just plow over enemies, it doesn't really matter. Oh hey, we got Clank, by the way. That just happened.
Had been here to defend us against Argos. I guess you can't change the past.
We never really even like saw him. He's just kind of here now.
Attention, miserable creature.
So that's just how the headcanon's going to work here. Clank has appeared. That's it. Clank has appeared. Right here we got some nice combat sections that you need to do to end up progressing when you're playing it. Next up actually comes, this is our second and a third boss. And we will be fighting both of them at the same time because we can. This game is doing its thing where it cannot decide what it wants to latch onto. That is something that happens sometimes. It's very frustrating, actually. It's usually like if there are two things, or two things next to each other that can be hooked onto. The result is just like, I don't know what to hook onto, so I'll just choose nothing.
Commander Argos is trying to flood the valley. We have to get to the top.
We're actually coming to a point that I get to use a brand new tech.
I do not understand. How will
I will
seeds help us defeat the
elaborate.
Trust me.
Once that comes. It's a tech that was found, or, well, I'll say more of what it actually is, but it was found recently by a fellow runner named 24/7 Yu-Gi-Oh! He was working on a segmented run and found this strat by accident. It's not this one. This is for swag. We don't need to see the ground. So that's the new strat right there, actually. It's a triple jump. And it's not working anymore. There we go. Alright, so we're up here. Whee! Now we get to fight this Argonian ship while we cannot see anything. So that was caused by entering the time rift at the same time that a cutscene was happening. Currently, the game has no idea whether I am in the present or the future, so it doesn't know which one to load, so it loads neither. It loads all of the assets from the past, but all of the actual like textures and stuff are just gone. This actually, like, if this is done optimally, this actually saves time too. Because you have to go through the portal anyway. This just allows you to save the time of having to re-enter it and go back into the past. But as a repercussion, you cannot see anything. I think this is the bridge. That is not the bridge. We will now be able to see the bridge. This is what I was trying to land on. It's a pretty big bridge, but you'd be surprised when you can't see at all.
If you find any battery bots, just toss them into these charging stations. That should throw up the Versa fuses.
Something I haven't mentioned is there are actually like 3 different movement and aiming modes in this game. And I don't know if any of them are actually proven faster. If any, there's a shooter mode. That's probably the fastest. There's a lock strafe mode, there's a third person movement mode, and then there's a shooter mode. And they all have kind of different cameras and different ways that you move a bit. So they have like some of their own benefits to them. Different runners use different control schemes, and yeah, none have been like definitively picked as being faster. So people just kind of do what they want. So now we go to probably the best route of the run. Because this game is in in-game time, and this elevator moves while we're in quick select, we just stay in quick select because the in-game time doesn't progress. We just sit around. Oh hey, we're here.
Must have flown back here to pick up
The reason we're able to do that is because the plasma striker, or that sniper rifle type weapon, has the ability to aim down a scope, which they didn't remove the ability to do that while you're on a moving object and aren't supposed to be able to move. And aiming down the sights of it gives you free movement again, so you can open up your quick select and do whatever you want. You can even jump off it while it's moving if you want to. I wouldn't advise it though.
Happy fighting.
Didn't see that coming, did ya?
So there are 3 phases to this comparative fight. We got this first bit where we're just going to have him do nothing. And normally here we're supposed to go all the way around this ring, and we meet back up, back at the big head, and we, you know, talk out our problems with him. But what we're going to do instead, we're going to go up to this lantern, and we are just going to turn around. So if you go back, oh hey, apparently we've gone around the entire thing. The game only checks to see if you've gone a quarter of the way around the world. Or it's probably not even a quarter, it's a very small amount, but it just checks at a specific point. And the game says, hey, you're done going around the ring. Can that go away? I can't hit him. Got staff members dancing in the background. Funny enough, I actually did get a skip there. There's a section that skips like there's a section where you have to fight some drop ships, and they didn't spawn, which is fast, but I kind of wait there. Right. Same old news, except this time we're going over here to stop the laser here, and now we get to just kind of watch the UFO make its way over. Let's pull up this just for funsies. That's a new one. I have no words to describe that. All right, let's try that again, shall we? All right, so we go over to the ammo crate. We walk over this way. Jump over the edge to stop the laser. And now we sit and wait over here. So it's so nice that they happen to park the UFO right here for us. You just jump right on.
Do something, Lawrence.
Yes, sir. Activating autopilot.
So here's where we really get to use the Rhino. Blink and you might miss it.
Blasted Robotron.
He's dead. That is not the final boss of the game, though. So I mentioned before, the cutscenes are gone. No spoilers here. No spoilers here. We are playing as Clank because we want to. Nothing happened. Absolutely nothing happened. Nothing. Am I convincing? Hope I'm convincing.
He left me no choice.
I think our definitions of the word are a little bit different.
Stay out of my way, Clank. I don't want to kill you, but I will if I have to. This what he's doing.
I don't know why that one just gets me every time.
Is it so that the great and powerful Sony been there? I'm sorry, doing it, sir. Just keep going. Come too far.
So I'm gonna go for a kind of spooky 1 second time save coming up here. It's just something I do. Shout outs to Mob, to Big Mob for this one coming up here.
General, you have to stop this. You can't change the past.
And never could let go of consequence, could you? I can't let you get in the way.
So yeah, that seems like 1 second, but if you miss it, you lose like 20. It's not that hard, it's just very risky. Here we are at the final fight. As we have VX weapons, time will be coming up pretty shortly. We got 2 phases to this fight.
You were supposed to be here.
Here's phase 1.
Tunneling initiated. Warning. Breach detected. Infatuation station 11.
Fine.
14 minutes. 23.
53. Man, I got stuck on Bernilius for a long time. Since this is in-game time, I'm going to do a very quick look at the in-game time just to see what it was.
Ratchet Space Rat, your path is far from over. For you see, the most horrifying truth is yet to be revealed.
Anyway, I could use this time to thank some people. Once again, I said before, people in the community, there's been a lot of people, or a few specific people that have really been pushing this game recently, such as Mobius and 24/7 Yu-Gi-Oh! Shoutouts to Red. Red was the guy who set in stone this actual route. He found a bunch of other stuff in this game as well. He tends to just kind of pop up every couple years, and he just goes, hey, by the way, this has been a thing for 5 years. So then we just add that to the run. Shout out to the Ratchet and Clank community. Shout out to Midwest Speed Fest for letting me run. And let's see what the time is. 7:34:29. And this is going to be a 6:52:55, so that's 7:05 plus 7:34. It's like a 41:34, which honestly not great, but I got to show everything off. I'm happy that I did that. So thanks for watching, guys. We got a VTuber coming up next, so that'll be very interesting. Another marathon first, in person at least. So stay tuned for that.
And thanks again to wedsr for that awesome Ratchet and Clank Future Kraken Time run. Coming up next, again, we have some Hotline Miami with that VTuber themselves, Orion. So sit tight, stay cozy, and we'll be back.